Assalamu alaikum. One of the things that happens with teachers is that they're like, it's like you get dyed, like not died, but like D-Y-E-D. You get the dye of your teachers. And so my shuyukh in Mauritania are not ones for long du'as. And so I never developed the ability to do that. Whenever we would ask one of our shuyukh, Murabat al-Hajj rahimahullah, for du'a, he would say, وَفَّقَنَ اللَّهُ وَإِيَّاكُمْ. That's it. And so usually when it comes time for dua, people are used to longer duas, and so I pass the mic to my wife, Dr. Rania, and she usually does the longer dua. So I'm just going to do a short dua, which I already did it. وَفَّقَنَ اللَّهُ وَإِيَّاكُمْ. May Allah give you tawfiq. But I want to talk about what that means. And my father, Allah yarhamu, may Allah have mercy on him, he said, which by the way, if there's anybody who's been to Silicon Valley Academy, or An-Nur Academy, which is now Peace Terrace Academy. Anybody from, my father was involved in establishing both of those. But he used to translate tawfiq as divine synchronization and then would put his fingers like this. And so what we're asking for when we ask for tawfiq is that Allah lines us up so that we can get that. And when you see that, in creation, you can actually get a reminder of it as well. So, for example, Dr. Rania was sharing that she went as 14-year-old to Syria, studied with Anse, Sawsan, mashallah, and then eventually her son moves to America, but not to anywhere in America, but Fremont, where that's where I first moved to California. So it was like when you see that close of a connection, you know that it's not by the design of any human being. It's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bringing the connections together. As Dr. Rania mentioned, one of my mentors, when I was in high school, we used to, in our MSA, love when Dr. Rajabally would come to our school to give khutbahs. So for anybody who gets a request for the MSA, especially the high schoolers, go to those places. And he would tell me that he would, because they have a clinic, right? And I've got my teeth cleaned and fixed. And so if anybody needs the service, they have an excellent clinic in Fremont. And there's two Dr. Rajabalys. When I would call and ask for Dr. Rajabally, they would say, which one? Because he and his wife both are... Oh, is Dr. Farida here? Oh, mashallah. Assalamu alaikum. And so they would say, which one? And in that is another story as well of two families, of two people in the same family being doctors, both doctors of dentistry and so forth. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'm trying to bring the discussion back to a point of tawfiq, which is the point of addiction. And how Dr. Rajabally was bringing this, the awareness about addiction in our communities very early on when nobody was talking about it. And now, fast forward, we still have a long way to go in that area. But I remember the first time I heard from a Muslim talking about the 12 Steps program was from Dr. Rajabally. And one of the things as well is that a lot of churches, like if you want to attend a 12 steps, whether it's AA or NA, they're usually housed in churches. Which masjid? Have you ever heard of a masjid that has an AA in the masjid? We don't. So that's something that's lacking. But MCC, mashallah, is a pioneer. We had a friends and family group that was here right before COVID, right when it hit. But there was a lot of hesitancy for friends and family, not only those who are struggling with it, but the friends and family. And they were afraid of the stigma that might be associated. They said, is this going to be in the masjid? Who's going to know about it? If we sign up, where's our information being kept? They don't want others to know about it. So yesterday, I was speaking with one of my students, and who is through our work in Taiba Foundation in the prison. He wrote a book drawing from the Muslim tradition, specifically of spirituality, talking about the 12 Steps program. And that book, Overcoming Addiction, now is being studied all over the world. In fact, somebody from the Maldives wrote to us and said, I struggle with addiction. And I believe he was saying meth, and he said, I couldn't find anything in the Islamic literature, and I found your book online, but Amazon doesn't deliver to the Maldives. Is there any way we can get it to there? And we sent him the PDF. We also have people in the UK reading that book. But I was talking with the author Ahmed yesterday, and he said that he met somebody who, in prison, who was inspired by something he shared about helping other people get through his addiction. And so that person took the inspiration and then built out a whole addiction program. He's not even Muslim, but he built out a whole addiction program in the prison based on that inspiration of that Ahmed was able to share. And so the idea that I want everybody to take home tonight is whether you're directly involved with this nonprofit Maristan or the building of this building, that's one factor. The other factor is how can you bring the spirit of that healing into your life? And something that was mentioned earlier, that the Maristan started with the Rasul alayhi salatu wasalam, where he appointed people during the battles, during the ghazawat, to be the nurses and to helpers. And one of them was Nusayba radiallahu anha. And during the battle of Uhud, she had gone out there to treat people. And then when the army started becoming disarrayed and she sees all the men running around, she starts picking up the weapons and saying, she put down her healing tools and picked up the weapon tools, and she was one of the last people that guarded the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam during that assault of the Quraysh on the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So I want us to think about that whether or not there's a building associated with the healing, how can each one of us take something home, an inspiration from tonight, to be healers in whatever capacity it is, in our own homes, in our communities, in our masajid, and make our homes, make wherever we go, make that a healing center. And when I was speaking with Ahmed, we were talking about the musalla area in the prisons, which is the chapel. And a lot of times the people bring in a harsh interpretation of Islam into the chapel, and so there's a reluctance to go into the chapel, even with other Muslims, because then there's going to be this harsh Islam. And I said, Ahmed, years ago I told him, I said, what would happen if in the chapels in US prisons, they were healing centers? They were places where people feel if you go there, you don't have to worry about this harsh rejection from other people, this harsh application of Islam. It can actually, they can feel like, I'm getting healed. When a person walks into a masjid, do they feel like I'm actually getting healed? So do we carry the spirit of the Maristan with us? And so that's what I want us all to go home with, and that's what the dua I'm making for all of us. Wafaqana Allah wa iyyakum. May Allah give us tawfiq and give you tawfiq to take the spirit of healing, of the Maristan, of the people of Shifa, the people who would heal people, the people that the Prophet ﷺ would appoint to heal people, and that we all become healers, whether or not we're doctors, whether or not we're working in a Maristan, that we're healing the people around us. Wafaqana Allah wa iyyakum.